happy for you to sit in between us.
I want attacking purposeful football all the time. And providing you had it set up in that quarter, we had a real chance of winning it in that quarter. Now we've got our backs against the wall and we've got to fight.
Absolutely nailed it.
Hey, you know how when we were driving to the game on Saturday, it was a lot of talk about strippers and whatnot.
Yeah.
What I was just thinking, what does a stripper do if they have a Bucks or a Hens night? Do they get strippers, or is it like, bringing your work home with you?
Well, I mean, if you marry a stripper, I mean, surely your hens night's going to be way more out there than what the normal thing would be. Like, I think every weekend would be a hens night, wouldn't it?
Pretty much. I mean, they must get sick of Hens nights and Bucks nights and that kind of stuff. So when one actually comes around for a stripper, do they go the opposite way and they go to the library or something?
Oh, they could do high tea.
High tea? Yeah,
High
exactly.
tea.
Yeah.
Well, it might be a bit different version of high tea, but more high than tea.
Yeah. I was just wondering because I got an invite to a Bucks party during the week.
And they were strippers?
There will be, most likely.
What's his name?
Ben. And he's probably listening too. G'day, Ben.
G'day, Ben the stripper.
We'll start off with the final Thursday night game. Just say what you want.
Intro.
Yeah, you want to know our names. It's Brenton, Heath and Josh. You'll figure out which one's which.
I'm Josh. Go fuck yourselves, cunts.
You're not talking to Grandma now.
Grandma, if you're listening.
That's a long story, that one. You explain. We will explain it one day. The final Thursday night game of the year, and I got to admit, it's grown on me a little bit, the Thursday night fixture.
Yeah, no, not me.
It has me because it makes Friday so much more tolerable. Because it's like I've got something to talk about and I've got something to look forward to and talk about what's going to happen.
Exactly. For a scrappy game and a low-scoring game, geez, it was hot. It was a really tight contest all night.
It was. Down in Adelaide, wasn't it?
It was at Adelaide Oval.
Swanee got pulled over by the cops thinking he was a bikie.
Mistaken for a bikie.
Unfortunately for the cops, they're actually just trying to buy some weed.
They just
they lucked out. You need to go to Strathmore or something like that.
I'm willing to bet it's not the first time Swanee's been mistaken for a criminal either.
No, most time people are trying to buy something, not actually, take him somewhere.
But look, Port Adelaide got out in front in a first quarter blitz. It was very much like the Hawthorn game.
It was a little bit actually.
They blitzed them in the first quarter and got off to an absolute flyer and slowly got pegged back.
But it seemed like that the game was always there for the taking for either team, regardless of the lead that Collingwood got. It seemed like Port Royal was in it.
As soon as one team clicked, they were going to win it.
Yeah.
Collingwood just had... they didn't peg them back so slow. They just had that intense couple of minute burst where they scored 3 quick goals and then it dragged back out again, another 3 quick goals and the game's on the line kind of thing.
And that's true. Maybe it's just the perception of Collingwood that they got those stars that, a quick burst can really change the game when you got Pendlebury and Swan and old mate down the forward lines.
Yeah, Travis Cloak.
Actually,
Cloak. That's what I'm talking about.
It was Cloak?
No, Elliot.
To me, it was their second stringers that really stood up. De Goey didn't do too bad at all. And,
for a young lad.
Even though the stats weren't reflected, Frost, I thought he was spectacular in breaking tackles and just breaking the line. A lot of times, you see a guy get tackled and you know it's going to be a ball up.
Yeah.
And with that, he had one or two guys trying to wrap him up, and he just busted straight through it, got a nice delivery off. And that just opens the forward line up so much. You get delivery in forward quick, and you can score off it. And he really had a brilliant game for someone that only got 7 possessions.
With all the troubles with injuries and other suspensions that Collingwood has had in the back lines, I think Frost has really stood up. It's been it's helped his development, and he's become a real rock down back. He's had a great year for him.
He's no small unit either.
No, I've said it before. He looks like if Brock Lesnar was a vegetarian.
Also, he looks like Dennis Seaver.
a little bit taller. I thought the way they played Darcy Moore was interesting as well, because he was roaming up forward last week against the Hawks. Didn't get much of the ball, but his instincts were okay. But he still looks young and undersized for an AFL team. But the reason is because he's young and undersized.
Yeah.
So they played him almost across the half back line and let the ball come to him. a little bit more. He had to go chase it a bit. Still showed that he's not quite at the AFL pace.
Yeah.
But the instincts are good, and he looks okay.
Look, in that role, I think that's becoming evident that it's a key role in any team strategy when you look at mounting an offense. And I think if you look at Hurley, you look at Maston with the Eagles, that's enough backman who can pretty much play that quarterback role from centre-half back down to centre-half forward. It's becoming a really key position.
Well, yeah, the half-back line is an attacking weapon now. You'll see them crash the pack. They'll always be running by to get the ball. And for so often, they're kicking goals too.
And I think that the real sort of criticism of the game is that you don't see the true centre-half back versus centre-half forward role. But I think that role is being condensed into one, where you play the centre-half back and the centre-half forward.
I think it's a lot more mobile now, because it used to be you'd kick to centre-half forward.
Yep.
Whereas now you're looking to carry up to centre-half forward, kick to the forward line.
You want to receive from your centre-half forward from the middle,
Yes.
more or less.
It is more of a key backman versus key forward, not a full forward, full back,
Yeah.
and a centre half forward, centre half back. And they're trying to run through that. But they're running out of the half back line. I really feel like Ty Cannelli and Nick Malcheski sort of popularised that role, so that every team then sort of had to go, okay, that's what we need, that kind of run out of the back line.
Yeah.
Look, when they play Cyril Rioli back, his ability to run through at the centre bounce is fantastic.
Taylor Adams had the ball on a string for half the night.
Yeah. Well, he needed a good game. Another one, dad joke Friday. Oh, shit. Tuesday.
I patella, see what you're doing there. No, mine was far more forced. That was
I need some work.
it was a funny old incident, because I was saying to you, I watched it on the replay, and I'm like, okay, maybe you're off balance.
Yeah.
The first four,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then the fifth one's just whack.
Damn, yeah.
It's like, yeah, dude, I think he got what did he get? 2 games.
Yeah, because that was the same as you, where like watching the replay, it's like maybe, definite.
Definitely.
And the thing is, that definite just erases all the maybes before that.
Yeah.
It goes, they're all definites too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So he got 2 weeks, and he can't get it lower than 2 weeks.
Well, the good thing is, like, as a follow of that incident, the UFC has decided to try and change the knees to a down opponent rule.
Right, they reckon it's on.
They have. They're trying to. The VP of athletic rules, or whatever it is, has actually put forward a...
It's made up. You may as well make it whatever you like.
No, I'm serious. It actually isn't made up. It's true.
They're looking at knee down
today
opponent.
after the Ultimate Fighter finale. So yeah, there you go. Taylor Adams.
So Adams got another career
Doing your
coming.
part for UFC in Melbourne.
UFC 193 in Melbourne.
Yep.
So as long as they don't allow the north-south knees, because I remember, I think it was Vovchachin got
Igor.
Common, and it was like he was laying carpet.
Yeah.
He just throw those knees in, and he walked out 4 inches shorter.
Well, I can tell you they will definitely be legal.
For Vovchachin.
Those knees to the top of the head, that's what they're pushing for. Like the back of the head will still be legal, but everywhere else will be legal. Anyway.
Fucking hell.
Yeah.
In the ruck duels for the night, looking at Paddy Ryder, who's only just got his way back in, had an exceptionally quiet night last week. He's improved this week and did most of the ruck work when Matthew Lobby had a very quiet one. I'm not sure how he... is he carrying an injury or something like that? Was he subbed off? He wasn't subbed off, was he?
I don't know.
I think he was.
We only had 3 possessions, but
Who was the sub?
Archie.
Archie. Okay.
Anyway, if we go here,
scroll down the bottom. There we are.
substitute Archie. Yeah, 3/4 time. So I mean, yeah, he was subbed out with an injury, but 3/4, you got 3 handballs. That's a quiet old night.
You've got 3 handballs to half time. You'd think you're probably not coming out after the second half.
And Witts and Grundy aren't exactly league leading when it comes to ruckman.
Yeah,
They're handy.
It was pretty greasy conditions, but even so, you need to get more than 9 hit-outs in a half.
I was going to make a joke and say, yeah, even Boomer had more possessions at 3/4 time when he was a sub, but he actually did.
Yeah, he did, yeah, because he came off for the concussion rule.
And then went back off for a 3/4 time.
Yeah, it happened a couple of times in this round. I think it happened in this game too. So otherwise, look, it was a very emotional game for Port Adelaide as well. They finally got to pay their respects for Phil Walsh because they played before the incident last week. So
and they had time to think about it and plan it too.
And
made for a great spectacle.
And they put a lot of plan into it.
Kudos. That was a good job.
Look, did it well. My only concern is like they've played the showdown this week, so they're talking about Port and Adelaide are going to have combined banner.
Okay.
And they're going to do a lot, obviously, because he had a lot to do with both those clubs. Yep. Now, I'm going to be an arsehole. I hope that that's the last thing they do for Phil Walsh and start to move on.
Honestly, I wouldn't be shocked at all if they renamed it the Phil Walsh Cup.
Or name the Showdown medal after him.
Well, that's what I was going to say.
That's fine.
Is the actual trophy named after anyone yet? The Showdown trophy?
I don't believe so.
No.
And this is a good chance because he had a lot to do with both clubs, obviously. And that's great. And it's something that is certainly worthwhile. And both teams will approve of it. You're not going to see a lot of fire in that match, I don't think, because of it. But we don't want to... It's hard to say, but you've got to move on, not just from a football perspective, but from a personal perspective as well. You can't sit... I know it's only been a week, but you can't just keep dragging it on.
I know what you mean. It honours him more by moving on, and being a football personality, obviously being a human, you want to know that the blokes are thinking of you and caring about you, whatever happens.
And
but he'd also expect them to, live their life, and part of their life is playing footy hard and hopefully coming over the chocolates.
And look, it's nothing easy. Don't get me wrong. And it's not like you go, okay, we're done, we forget.
Yep.
We're your armbands, whatever stuff, but you've got to tone it down, and part of the grieving process is to deal with it and moving on to the next stage. And it's not forget it. Okay, our time's up. But it is a very harsh thing to say, and some people aren't going to like it. But
no, I think you've got to honour him in your own way, and each player will have their own way of honouring him.
Yep.
It might mean they wear armbands all season or the rest of their career. Who knows? Get a tattoo. They might go out to his favourite restaurant. They might meet up with a family. They could do any of a million things. But it's down to the individual. The team itself, as a whole, I don't think needs to do much more beyond this week, except maybe end of the year. Obviously, certain ceremonies. But as a club, I think they can sort of move on and leave the grieving down to the individuals. And if they need support, get behind them, absolutely. If a player comes up to them on Thursday and said, look, I'm not handling this well, I need another couple of weeks off, by all means.
Absolutely.
You're a human first, deal with that shit. But the club itself has done as much as the club can do. Whatever they do from now won't lessen anyone's grief. It won't make it easier for anyone. That's a lot down to individuals.
I guess what I'm trying to say is that the way the whole AFL community has honoured it and given respects for the last couple of weeks has been good. We don't need to try and outdo ourselves in the grieving process.
Make a spectacle of it
from week to week.
See, I think for this game, I think it pays for them both to be nice, for lack of a better word, and be like that whole togetherness. But going forward, and like I said, being a bit of an arsehole, I'd like to see this be a point of even more
closure,
sort of aggression in the next game. Yep. Like if the Showdown Cup gets named the Phil Walsh Cup, I'd like to see let's say he has, well, I'm not saying that he should, but let's say he has a statue or something outside Adelaide Oval or something like that.
Whatever it is,
Whereas the privilege of winning that showdown is to have your photo of your team in front of that statue with the Phil Walsh Cup or something like that.
Or something like that.
So make it something where it's going to
actually pretty decent
put a bit of extra oomph into that showdown. And that, to me, as a fan of sports, that shows respect to someone.
Yep.
Yeah. You're not trying to sensationalise what happened.
Yeah.
You're trying to honour his contribution.
Exactly. In a contest. And because it's always going to be a contest between those two.
I honestly think this sort of thing would have happened eventually anyway, just because there's so few personalities that are on both Adelaide clubs. Generally, you're either Port or Adelaide, and neither of the two shall meet.
Yeah.
But he managed to successfully cross that cultural divide.
Yep.
And was respected by both sides.
I think they should, like you say, have the statue and put it up at the Ramsgate Hotel.
Yep.
We'll move on to Friday night. And
red and blue corner.
Well, I had to make it light somehow. Friday night, it was great to see Carlton fucking up Friday nights again. This gets my vote for most boring match of the year in Carlton and Richmond.
Oh no, there's been worse.
Hey, look, I've done a bit of research here.
Oh, good.
Bit of research. Turns out we've got a milestone this game.
Who? Carlton's?
Yep. Tom Field played his first game. First game, according to AFL.com.au, that actually qualifies as a milestone.
Tom Fields.
Yep.
Fair enough.
I mean, great. Carlton did it yourself.
This is a shithouse game. Everything was shit about it. The umpire, there was 55 free kicks paid or something like that.
Yeah.
Half of them were there.
Umpires ruined this game. Ruined it.
The umpires saw the players playing shit and thought, we'll have some of this.
Yep.
Well, yeah, the umpires got more possessions than half the bloody people out there.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think they had more to say, yeah.
Vickery got 2 weeks, and I reckon he'll appreciate that, because if you have to turn up and watch that from the forward lines every week, God, it'd drive you spare.
And the thing is, Carlton had some decent ins this game as well. They had Gibbs coming in, had Menzel, Carazzo.
Yeah,
I think
big
that
ins.
They'd be ones that would push you over the line in a game like this.
But Gibbs, poor Gibbs, he's finished for the year now. Torn his pec
that's right.
in the second or third, I can't remember.
Yep.
Casbolt kicked a beauty from, 55 off a couple of steps.
From about 200, I think.
Jeez, hasn't he picked up his kicking?
Bloody oath.
Oh, he's fine if he's kicking from about 70 out.
Dead in front.
It's when he's 30 out that you got to fucking worry.
I
Mind you,
think
there's been some ordinary fucking goal kicking in the last few weeks.
There has been.
Yeah, but I think Rance really dominated down back, and a lot of times he'll do enough to form a contest, and then Richmond win with numbers. But I think Rance really stood up in one-on-ones and played way better than I thought he was capable of, to be honest.
Look, he has just had a sensational month.
I think
Ever since he signed his
better since he
contract,
signed,
he's just pulled it out, and he's an All-Australian form. And
Maybe it was a load on his mind. And
maybe,
Yeah.
But his big thing to me is that you never see him on the ground. Like, you never see him fall over.
Yep.
Yeah, that's true.
He'll contest the mark, punch it, and he'll cram his own kick. He won't fall on his ass like you see so many frustrating backmen do. He'll always be on his feet and collect the ball. And he is a really nice below-the-knee pickup.
But this one game was where I saw him show valid independent thought, if that makes sense.
Holy fuck.
I was thinking the same thing. He was. He's not making those silly mistakes.
Yeah, and it wasn't the things that he did. It was the things that he didn't do, like the handballs that he didn't give, and waited for the best option, which was the second one.
Yeah,
and
do you
things
reckon,
like that.
do you reckon someone at Richmond's hypnotised them all or something? Because Vickery's been doing the same. He's been doing some smart decisions.
Dude, when you got God on your side, you're fucking unbeatable. Didn't you watch UFC?
Not yet. Basher Hooley's the same. He normally runs and does stupid shit, but he's made some good decisions recently.
He's doing a lot better. We pointed it out before. He'll run until he can't run anymore.
Yep.
Not until the right option's there to give it away.
Yep.
He's improved on that point.
He has, yeah. I think it's because Martin's there going, give it to me, cunt.
How funny was that? It happened again in this game. It's happened before where somebody's got the ball and they've gone, Martin, shepherd.
Yep.
Martin's gone, listen, cunt.
Yep.
You do the
Mate,
shepherding.
yeah.
I do the kicking.
Yeah.
Give me the fucking ball.
See those people in the crowd with 4 on their back? It's for a fucking reason.
It's not for fucking Royce Hart, is it? Dustin fucking Martin it's for, mate.
Exactly.
It's a long conversation to have when you're running down the wing.
It is, but I
he
mean...
managed to do it.
He's had plenty of time playing Carlton, time alone.
I saw a few of the blokes in the outer have copied Dustin's haircut too.
Yeah, I mean, most of the time it's just, just from trying to get your sideburns even. It's not going right till his fucking head.
It does seem like when he gets his hair cut, it's like, oh, I'll sit here. He's got ADD. He's like, no, I've had enough. I'm done. Bang. And off he goes.
I swear, like, his hair's actually scared of him. And it just hides in, like, all hides in the back of his head where it can't be seen. And it's like, we're safe here, guys. We're safe.
So it's scared of him, but not as scared of him as,
Yeah.
like, Chuck Liddell's hair.
Like, you remember that episode of South Park where, like, the fleas or the ticks or whatever they've got, they're
I
like,
haven't seen that one.
doing
no.
it for my baby.
No.
Well, I'm sure our fans love South Park. It's the same shit sense of humour that we got.
Speaking of the crowd, anybody searching through the crowd will be very happy that Sean Hampson's back in the side and
Yep.
and playing well. I mean, he hasn't had many opportunities.
He played really well. A bit of a niggle. It looked like he might have not aggravated ankle or in.
He'll be back since Vickery's going to be on the sidelines. So even when... Is Merrick back this week or the next week?
This week he's eligible to play. I think he got 1 week.
He only got one. I can't remember if he got
I
one.
think he
or
got
two.
1 week, yeah.
Either way, it looks like Hampson will get another run. And he earned it.
I think he definitely earned it. And I think this it shows that we don't have to rely so much on Marich being strictly in our middle, where or the opposite, where we can just have him in the middle and around the ground you can have someone else that can pick up those sort of things and have him drop back for marking contests and things like that.
Because you look at Hampson, he's an absolute monster. He should be playing better than he is.
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
He's touched Carlton and that's a bit of a curse, so he's got to shake that off.
Well, he's held together by a fucking elastotape, so
Yeah.
whatever it is, so.
Well, yeah, it was one of those nasty ones, actually. Besides Gibbs' injury, he also had Armfield's.
Yeah.
Break his arm, did he? Or
broke his ulnar.
Yeah.
Poor bastard. I mean, Carlton's... You know what? The shame about Carlton is the easy part of their draws finished now.
Yeah,
They've
they're
actually
marked.
got their hard parts coming up.
Yep.
But they might sneak in a couple of wins, and they're still going to finish. They won't finish wooden spoon, I don't think.
Yeah.
But
Luckily, it's going to get easier for them in the off season.
in the off season. Yeah, about it. On to Saturday afternoon in the MCG. Melbourne is a bit of the bogey side for Essendon in the last couple of years, and Essendon coming off a 5-game losing streak, I think, and a 110-point loss the previous week.
Yeah.
In another, it was a shit weekend for football, really.
Yeah.
And this is one of the. It wasn't the worst game, but it certainly was among them.
Yeah. I think you can't kick 7-18 and expect to win a game. I think that's what it comes down to.
Tom McDonald was one of the worst offenders. I think he kicked 3 or 4 points in a row in the final quarter.
Well, they call it the third quarter, the premiership quarter. And
Yep.
I mean, when you look at the difference, it was Essendon kicked 6-3 to 1-4 for Melbourne.
Yeah.
And Melbourne always picked it back in the last, but their inaccuracy just cost them.
Well, they had a 12-point play, and I think 6 of them were behinds in the last quarter. And Tom McDonald was responsible for most of them.
Yep.
I don't know why he was playing that far up the ground even.
Yeah.
He won't be an All-Australian fullback, but he'll be in the discussion.
I think maybe a lot of Melbourne players saw this as a chance for them to shine and show they can win games and play key positions and that, and it was just too many
little
Chiefs.
bit of their own tickets.
Yeah, too many Chiefs, not enough Indians.
Or they're trying to get traded. Which, if you're going to try and get traded, probably playing against Essendon, not a bad option because they got the cash.
No, they don't. Essendon don't have the cash anymore.
Well, they might have
Essendon
next
lawyers
year.
have the cash.
Yeah,
They might have the cash next year when half their team's out.
Plus, Essendon just built their new thing out at Airport West or whatever the fuck it is. Essendon Airport,
Moorabbin.
Moorabbin, yeah, down there.
No, our airport outs.
They've
where
got
was it?
down at Dingley Village.
No, that's Hawthorn.
Dingley's
Yeah,
out
right.
at fucking...
Yeah,
That's southeast.
Southeast, yeah. It's where the tip is,
yeah, the other way. Bernie Vince has gone. I reckon he's probably leading the Melbourne best and fairest this year.
He killed it. It was a 35 and 25 kicks or something like that.
Absolutely, it was
Something
spot on.
ridiculous.
Just needed to finish off a few goals, and he'd be, pulling in Brownlow votes.
Yeah.
But he's playing tagger at the start of the year, and now he's the ball magnet. Which is great that he's taking some of the load off Nathan Jones, who's been running a bit of a solo show the last couple of years.
The thing is, I think when he was playing tagger roles, he was actually beating the other person, or the person who was tagging, in possessions and disposals.
Or trying to.
You've looked at it. If you're playing man-on-man against the best people in the competition and you're getting more kicks than them, then I think that really sort of puts your stocks up a bit.
Well, yeah. The other bloke who stepped up, though, was Max Gawn. I mean,
Yeah.
for a young lad, 58 hitouts.
Not a bad effort.
Not a bad day out at
effort
all.
I mean, Essendon has been struggling in the ruck department for most of the year. They got Sean McKernan, who's undersized for a key forward, let alone for a ruckman.
Yeah.
But they've picked him to try and run through and beat other players around the ground.
But I think McKernan, this was one where he showed a bit of promise. Like I put him on the chopping block probably 3 weeks ago, and he's done increasingly well since then. And maybe this was a game where they put him against someone.
He's been handy. To me, he's one of those utility players that you can use in several positions. And he's shown adaptability, which is more than he's shown in the last 6 years of his career.
Think we said at the halfway mark that his career is in jeopardy because he is in the VFL, still on the rookie list.
Yeah. He obviously listened to us.
Almost immediately, he's been upgraded. He was decent against Hawthorn and he was decent against Saints. And now he's had 3 decent games in a row.
And did Stanton used to do a bit of ruck work?
Stanton?
Yeah, he always been forward?
No, he was their whipping boy for Essendon for a little while.
Yeah, I do remember that. But I remember him being big and bulky. I wasn't sure if he actually did much ruck work.
No, not Stanton. You're probably thinking of someone else.
Yeah, it must have been.
I mean, even though McKernan got a bit of a touch-up by Gawn, he did himself no harm.
No, he did what he was supposed to do. He made a contest out of it.
The other thing, I think Watts actually showed more promise in this game with having not as much effect, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
He looked like he took on tackles a lot better than what he usually would and didn't shy away from maybe the 1% stuff, like the hard stuff.
Even more so watching this game, you know how when you watch Pendlebury, he always looks like he has time.
Yeah.
And he waltzes through and doesn't look rushed.
Yep.
Watts is the exact same,
Yeah.
except he should be rushed.
See, to me, Watts looked determined as opposed to pressured this game, where
It's
he
a bit
would
of a turn.
take on position, let's say tackles or whatever, ride the bumps to get a ball going forward to a free playing player running or something like that. I think for Watts, he had a win. in this game.
Yeah. I heard a lot of the comments around the game was lauding Hurley in the back lines. For me, Bagley was better, though. I thought he had one of his best games, floating across half-back. From what I saw of it, he was the second best player for Essendon. But, I mean, their best player was the difference of the night, was Danaher.
Well, you kicked 5 straight, and
the first 4 were from tough pack marks.
yeah, and once he actually decides he wants to eat real food,
Yeah.
he could be something ridiculous.
Metabolism of that boy.
Bullshit, it's the moustache. That's what it was.
He needs to fucking get rid of that shit.
He's like Samson, except moustache hair.
Those marks were hard, tough pack marks. And then the 5th was from 52 or 53 metres out when they're up by 2 points with 3 minutes left. So that's a clutch effort. It's what they would have hoped that he could do.
And especially when you've had 8 kicks and 5 of those are goals.
That's not
it's
a bad
fucking
effort.
good night for someone who's been a bit under the pump.
Absolutely. And that's what you want from a key forward.
Yeah.
Exactly.
The whole team's been under the pump, especially when your captain says, "I'm a bit worn down."
I think he's finished for the year now too.
Yeah.
He is, he's done for the year.
He's been struggling for a few weeks, Joe.
Yeah.
Whether that's through the pressure or carrying, who can really say? But
His role has been leadership, that's it.
yeah,
Hasn't been a good week for Watson's. Both of them have finished for the year. I fucking hope.
I fucking hope so.
I thought Heppel though. I thought he has actually taken a bit of a step forward.
He bowled well, but
Yeah, he's okay. There's a few times I reckon he was caught out on the outside of the contested ball. But he's probably been instructed to do that.
Yeah, I don't think he's ever going to be the in and under player, just because he's not hard enough. He's not bulky enough. He just doesn't have that right body type for it.
But sometimes when there's like a 2-on-1, you need to get in there, even if it is just to hold it up.
the thing is, especially with Essendon, he should be playing the same role that James Hird played when he was playing. He's like that same sort of
But in
ability.
fairness, Hurd was probably he'd be the better talent than
By a mile.
Definitely.
just about anyone.
But if there's anyone that could tell you how to play that role, it would be James Hird.
One would hope.
Yeah.
Probably. Unless he's still hoping to get a call
The other thing, Zaharakis was a bit quiet this game.
He's just come back in too.
Yeah.
I like Zacharakis.
Me too.
Zacharakis
Me
as
too.
a player.
He's my favourite Essendon player.
Yeah. I hope he finds a little bit of form and hangs around because, look, they need to show something for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
Geez, they've got a loyal fan base. It was almost started to fall off just then. And I fear if they lost this game, they would have been absolutely gone.
Yep.
The fan base, that is, not the team. The team's already fucked. Don't worry about that.
Yeah.
And their run to the finals is shit too. So
Yeah, sitting 14th, they're going to struggle.
Their run to the finals is fucking great. They would have a mad Monday before anyone.
On to one of the weirdest games of the year. Gold Coast and the Bulldogs up at Cairns, which is great when you're playing a game in Queensland and Gold Coast are the away team.
Yeah. I think Richmond found that one out the hard way, didn't they?
There's a reason Richmond don't play up there anymore. Kept getting flogged. Geez, that ground's seen some funny results, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has.
That's where Carmichael Hunt kicked the goal after the siren.
That's right.
Which got them over the line, which is something that Carmichael Hunt was very good at, getting over the lines.
Yeah, it was.
he
worked
couldn't
that one
go
in.
past the line.
Yeah,
It
that was
was,
He went through it.
he went through a few lines, yeah.
He went through a few. Look, in the first, I think Gold Coast kicked 2 goals in the first 30 seconds or something like that. Ablett got the first clearance, runs down, cleans up the mess, kicks the goal, and then gets the next one as well.
Yep.
It looked like this was going to be what we expected Gold Coast to be at the start of the season.
Yeah, and it was for 3.5 quarters, or no, 3 quarters.
Well, 3.5 minutes for starters, but yeah. Look, Bulldogs were deplorable.
They were terrible.
It was listless. It made for very hard watching. There was just some puzzling decisions made by them. And then in the last quarter, it's some of the best running football I've ever seen.
Yeah, it flabbergasts me so much
What
because
happened?
that last probably 15 minutes, spectacular football to watch. If you're a Bulldogs fan, that is your highlight reel right there.
For the year.
Yeah, but everyone loves watching that free-flowing, aggressive style of football where players just all streaming forward, helping each other out, doing the 1%ers, shepherding, making options.
There were the one-look handballs that's hit a bloke. He's running full tilt without missing a stride, and then the snap around the corner. And
You see them collecting and kicking to targets and hitting them. And you're thinking, how the fuck is this only happening now?
It can't be all that Gold Coast got tired. It was sublime. And I don't know how it can happen in one quarter.
I think
and
Gold Coast just mistimed their peak. That's what it was.
It was.
It went too early or too late.
It's just so puzzling.
But the thing is, Ablett, like, I never said last time, maybe he's God, but he seriously is having a huge effect on this game. And looking at the stats, it's hard to really deny it. I think he had 30 disposals, 24 kicks, 20. I think he led his team in tackles too.
Well, I think the 24 kicks is the telling part because it's so easy to rack up possessions. You're getting handball back, handball back. Yeah. But to get 26, and his effective rating was, massive as well, which for a midfielder is exceptional. Like, I think everyone's kind of forgotten how fucking good he is.
Yeah, I think Gary knows that everyone's forgotten. And he's taken that as an insult.
The most telling to me was that he led his team in tackles, which means usually he's been on a bit of the outer, especially obviously being bred through Geelong, where he didn't need to play that role, but he still my team's down, I'm under pressure as a leader. Not only am I going to do the most with the ball, I'm going to go there and fucking get it back. You
know that 4 weeks ago, Ablett was 200 to 1 for the Brownlow. Some people put cash on him.
Oh, I tell you what,
look, Fife. I think he's down to 7s now.
When they saw Fife, go for a spoil on Sunday, I bet you there was a few nervous people there. It's also got to be said for Gold Coast that Tom Nichols has done everything he can with the opportunity. Zach Smith is playing in the twos. He's been right to play for a good 4 or 5 weeks now. Yeah, and he can't get in. Because of Tom Nichols, has just kept him out. And Zach Smith's a number 1 or a number 2 draft pick?
I think he is definitely. No, I'm pretty sure he might have been number 1. And the thing is, there's not many positions that are hard to fight for in the Gold Coast team at the moment. He's just in an unlucky situation that the guy that he is competing for a position with isn't fucking up and is actually sort of leading the way.
Doing his job week in, week out. He's not starring. He's giving Gold Coast no reason to drop him.
Yeah. And one thing that I think is smart with Gary Ablett is that done a bit of research, and it seems like whenever you shave your head and grow a beard, your longevity in AFL just sort of goes up a few years. Like you escape injuries, you got Malcheski. I mean, half a Sydney team's bald with a beard.
I say,
how long have they been around for? They're at least 40, 80 or something.
Chapman's still flying around too.
Yeah,
he's been injured for a while now. Oh, Chappie, you might be spoiling that one a little bit.
Just ignore Chappie's for Essendon. Just ignore that one.
He wasn't there during the supplements.
He's an outlier.
And I think also Malcheski, he's already retired. Unfortunately, somebody keeps paying him to play football. They don't realise it.
I think he's actually come back as Ablett. One and the same. Kolajnish.
Collar, Jazz, Knee.
Collar, Jazz, Knee. He's got the best of him and his brother's drafts, hasn't he?
His brother's the younger one. So I think he's still coming through. He looks okay.
He's down in Geelong,
I've been impressed with Cade this year.
Yeah, I think he's done really well. I think he's one of the few that have stood up in amongst the adversity that they've faced.
Sard's the other one who unfortunately was injured at the minute. I think.
Actually, he's probably more important than I forgot about him. So I think he's probably had more impact than
Kolajny.
Collar around your shirt.
Cade.
KK.
Cade champion.
Well, yeah. The other injury they had was obviously to Dixon. Which that's coming off him just pantsing North Melbourne.
Yeah.
I actually wanted to see him have a really good few weeks.
Make sure it wasn't just you.
And I think Robbie Tarrant did too. At least Thompson anyway.
That might be what gets Zach Smith back in the side.
Yeah. The other thing
he's going to miss a week at least.
The other thing I wanted to mention was Mitch Wallace under a lot of pressure with off-field issues. Came back and I thought he had a lot of key possessions that did a lot of good. He wasn't a standout, but I thought he did enough.
What do you do off-field?
Hasn't he been the one that's been mixed up in drugs?
No, that's Liberatore.
Liberatore, sorry. I knew it was a former AFL son.
Yeah, a father-son.
There you go.
Yeah. It was good to see the Bont kick a couple of nice goals too. He's back in form.
Yeah, he's in decent form. He's still not at that level I think he was last year.
But he had a good first 4 or 5 weeks. He looked like a world beater, and then he dropped off, and it looks like hopefully getting back to that a bit.
The other thing that I wanted to mention was that if you look at the top 5 possession winners for the Western Bulldogs, they're the top 5 people the Western Bulldogs need in order to build a team around when they're going to go forward. So I think that shows a lot for their skeleton of their team going forward.
Yeah, their ability to have class youngsters, or not
in adversity as well.
Yeah, class up and comers.
Yeah,
is in fact like you got Picken, McRae, Boyd, Bont, Wallace.
Yeah,
they're guys you do build a team around.
Yeah.
Just quietly, I was listening to some of this game on the radio, and somebody who wasn't Brian Taylor called Jake Stringer the package.
I think it was
Not fucking happy.
I think it was Push Up King.
Do you reckon it was Jakey?
Yeah.
Could have been. I'm not sure if it was.
Yeah, that's a big negative tick in my book.
No, it couldn't. Oh, yeah, it could have been. Anyway, I can't remember. The last thing I want to say about this one was it was good to see Jake Redpath. Not Jake. Kick a couple of goals. I saw him in the VFL Grand Final last year, and he looked like he could really give the top flight a shake if he got it all together. He still needs to put a few performances back to back, but wasn't a bad effort from the big fella. And I hope he plays well and stays on the list.
Yeah.
On to the Cats and the Kangaroos, which is good because we had ringside seats for this one.
Yeah. Row A. Yeah, it seemed like ringside too, because when they had the vest on Boomer, he looked like he was ready to belt the shit out of everyone.
It's a very puzzling decision. I know they said it was a half punishment for not doing his role in the team, but geez, tough call.
Well, I had a bit of a think about it, and I think Brad Scott might have thought North's faded off a few times. When they've had the lead, they've relinquished it. And when they've been chasing, they just haven't been chasing hard enough. So having a bloke with the ability to perform under pressure coming on at, after half time or if there's an injury, I think it's a brilliant idea. Either that or Brad Scott just got the shits with something Boomer did while he was on holiday and decided to punish him. I don't know.
Well, to be fair, watching North Melbourne, it doesn't look like Boomer has a strategy for a game at all, except for get the ball,
Give it to me,
kick
give
it
it
to
to
the
me,
forward
give it to me.
line. That's it.
Kick it to the forward line.
Handball to somebody so I can get back off. and
His
keep
role in the zone is telling everyone else where they should be.
running. A little bit.
I tell you what, it's one thing to say though, a bloke near 400 games is still as hungry for the ball as anyone I've ever seen.
Oh, my word. Kevin Bartlett
Yeah,
looks
I was
like
going to
he's
say,
settled down
you
and
don't get more generous as you get older.
especially not him.
If you learn anything when you're a youngster, is that the older people, they get the right away.
Can you imagine what happens if the 400 club have kick to kick?
Oh, there's not going to be much.
It's going to be
handballing
Tucky and Fletcher just going, boys, lads,
Me?
give it here, give it here.
Can I have a go?
And Fletcher just spoiling every motherfucker trying to mark it.
Jeez, it is a funny like that, the 400 Club, which will have 4 members in a couple of weeks. Fletcher and Tuck, very similar players. Bartlett and Harvey, very similar players. In
Yep.
demeanour, at least.
Yeah.
Probably say Harvey's the most hated out of 4 of them, but yeah.
I think if he wanted to punish Boomer, I wish he dropped him for a week and said, mate, have a rest.
Should have put him in the back pocket. They would have punished
I know
him.
why.
Because then he plays his 400th in Melbourne,
Yes.
rather than up in Brisbane with no fucker
We
watching
so happen would have guaranteed seats for that
guaranteed
game.
seats for that
Yeah.
game. It'll be. I get to watch both 400 games in the one year.
Yeah, I'm not going to Brisbane for that shit, though.
Fuck
No.
no.
I don't think Boomer will be either.
I hope not.
Oh, so
Look,
you want to get as many games in. Well, I do. I want to get as many games in as possible because that means he can chase down the all-time record. But I'm still not going up to Brisbane.
Well, the thing is, if North Melbourne were living up to their expectations this season, you'd say he's a shoo-in for it. But now that they're not, you have to say Brad Scott, he's sort of making the moves that don't be surprised if...
Well, he's probably got another 3 or 4 weeks to prove himself, and the option. Well, I think the option will be on the table.
I'd say he's got 6 months to prove himself. I think they'll give him the off-season.
I think they'll give him the off-season. He's very good with the board at North Melbourne.
I think they'll maybe offer him a role as opposed to a key position
Yeah.
and see what he wants to do with it.
Well, if they drop out the sub, which is what they're talking about doing,
I hope they do.
having the extra
Yeah.
person on the bench, it will extend his career, I think.
Yeah, I agree with that. But I think it might be up to him whether he wants to take a role. I think his position as key may not be as valuable as North Melbourne, as it once was North Melbourne. And I think that's evidence with Brad Scott saying that if you're not going to do what I say, then you have to listen to or take heed of my actions.
Yeah.
Well, the other thing is Brad Scott may not be there next year either.
That's what I was
This
thinking.
is true.
There's a good chance that if North fall away for the second half of the year, they've got to look at Brad Scott. But
Do you reckon Boomer straight into coach? How
Playing
could that
coach.
go wrong?
They've
How
had-
could that go wrong?
haven't had playing coaches in a while.
Heard.
Haven't had playing coaches in the while. Could be the first one. And I'll tell you what, just quietly, I reckon Boomer will be spending a lot of time one out at forward pocket.
Hey, look, sitting where we were and seeing Boomer on the bench, I think he's already slipped into that role.
He was doing a lot of talking.
He was doing a fair bit of
I tell you
talking.
what, if you're given that role, at least you got to fucking make it yours, don't you?
Speaking of talking, who was it?
Michael Ferrito.
Ferrito. Here we go.
There you go.
All right, going along the boundary line. Geelong got the ball. He's chasing someone down, and they've kicked it to
I think it might have been
Kelly or something like that.
Caddy or it could have been Caddy. I'm not sure, but he kicked it 15.01 meters.
Yeah, and he's turned around, and then because Frito's on his blind side, Frito's started yelling out, "Play on, play on, play on!" So he has,
and he did.
Veteran move.
He got the play-ons in there before the umpire got the whistle out, and I thought it was hilarious.
Yeah, and the thing is, these are the things you pick up when you go to the game. The things that you miss out on by watching on TV.
I should watch the replay. I doubt the mics would have picked that up.
Well, if they do, it probably sounds like an umpire.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly, yeah.
Which is exactly what
What
Spud was
it
going
was meant
for.
to sound
Yep.
like. Yeah.
Does that count as a 1%er?
That's a
It might-
3% at least, I think. 3%ers. Start them now. Who does the stats for AFL?
Champion data.
Champion Data. Get on it.
We'll put a report in that he got his 1%ers
Yep.
there. Jimmy Bartel had 41 touches. Is that the most unassuming 41 touch game?
41? Are you serious?
It was. I was
Holy
amazed.
shit.
Because I had no clue at the game
No.
that he had 41 touches.
I thought he was handy.
Damn.
But I thought, I remember watching and going, yeah, he's done all right for his first game back. And I checked the stats on the way home.
41. Holy
But
shit.
contrasting
30
that,
handballs.
contrasting that to Ablett's game,
Who had
41 touches
30
with
touches.
30 handballs. Ablett had less touches, more kicks,
Yep.
and was far more effective.
Yeah, blood oath he was.
I think in terms of yards gained or meters gained, Bartel would have been far below a lot of other
I
players
think a
around
lot
there.
of those handballs were in the middle of packs.
And where was Bartel playing? Was he still playing a floating like centre half back?
I think he was more through the centre than he has been.
Because the thing is that could just be a reflection of forward pressure or that zone pressure that North Melbourne put on. That's just a guess or a speculation, but it's one possibility.
Look, I thought North did a good job on Selwood as well. He didn't have his usual impact.
Yeah.
He getting a bit feisty every now and then too.
Well, was a big talk about the
chicken wing.
It's not a chicken wing tackle. What he's done is sort of a
It's like a hammerlock. He's definitely
Yes, it's a
he's
hammerlock.
got into a position where he's got the arm pinned behind his back, and then he's pulled on it.
yeah. And look, I think they've offered him 2 down to 1.
You've got to take it.
I actually, on its own merits, it's not that bad. But if you allow it, it can lead to ruptured shoulders, broken humerus, so much terrible shit.
See, that's why I'm all for post-season MMA card to sort out discrepancies that happen during the season. If anyone's had like a big rivalry, just jump in, put on the gloves, fingerless gloves.
All of a sudden, Barry Hall's signed to a rookie contract.
Yeah, but it'd be interesting to see what happens when you can take him down.
Well, I said the other week, I saw, was it Kieran Jack or Dan Hennery?
Yes.
Someone had a really good guard.
And the thing is, I saw it from a Geelong player. No, was it Geelong player? No, it wasn't because they played on Melbourne. Someone was on TV.
I think
they got taken down and they threw a leg over the back like they were
Yes.
looking to go for omoplata or triangle.
Shields for Hawthorn.
Yeah, actually, maybe it was Hawthorn game. Yeah, like they were looking to, just thinking that transition of triangle
Well,
armbar.
we know a lot
He had a
of-
seatbelt grip too, from memory, which
A lot of them
I guess
do.
technically should be above the shoulder. But anyway,
They do a lot of wrestling training. There are wrestlers and judoka that go down to all the clubs, so
Yes.
it wouldn't surprise me at all.
Malcolm Banks spent his time down there.
going back to the Selwood thing, you saw Jamie McMillan saw what was going on and crashed in. Unfortunately, he crashed in on the same side as Selwood, which
Yeah.
meant that his
it
arm
worse.
would have been wrenched further back. It's good to see McMillan's had a good couple of weeks since coming back into the side,
Yeah.
and it's good to see him flying the flag for his teammates,
Yeah.
even if he was kind of
Just be a little bit more
dopey.
careful.
Yeah. And it was good to see Brad Scott following the snitches get stitches code.
Well, actually, no. That is something I wanted to talk about. Brad Scott would be dirty at
Oh, shit,
anybody
yeah.
who'd done anything to one of his players like this in
Yeah.
any other club. He gets dirty when they don't fucking close the roof. He came out and said, "No, it's nothing in it," which
Yeah,
is something that he's done
It makes me suspicious as fuck.
because he's only ever had that kind of, shall we say, calm response against Geelong,
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to
who
do
his
his
brother coaches.
Yeah,
Yes.
doesn't want to get his brother in trouble. But then again, it was reciprocated too. I think
You
it
talking
was.
Petrie with a smack in the guts?
Not just that one, but I can't remember who hip and shouldered Selwood. I think it was.
that was a fucking ripper
Gibson.
too.
I'm pretty sure
That
it was
was a
Gibson.
ripper.
It was Gibson, yeah.
And he took part of his cheek in the hip and shoulder. It wasn't.
He
a
got his
full
chest
head contact.
first, and his head bounced forward and got him. So
Yeah, it was
the
one of
initial
those ones
contact
that-
was below the head.
Yeah, and it's one of those ones that
I think
it
anyway.
should be fine.
He didn't get.
I could be making it up.
He didn't get cited
No.
for it.
But it's one of those ones that in previous years, the umpires and
Yep.
the MRP have sometimes gone, nah,
Yep.
2 weeks.
It was about 3 inches below that of the Gold Coast Suns player
Stephen May?
May. About 3 inches below that one, so that it wasn't head first and then into the body. It was body first, which threw the head forward. I could be completely making this up. It was just based on me sitting on the sidelines watching it,
Close.
but that's what it looked like to me.
Close enough to the truth. That's our motto.
I'll tell you what, before I saw the replay, I thought
If you
that's
don't
a
agree,
sweet bump.
then just fucking send us a message.
If you don't agree, then you're racist.
Yeah.
Todd Goldstein, just quietly, if Fife does get rubbed out, smoky for the Brownlow.
Oh, who was the last ruckman?
Scotty Wind?
It's a longie. It's a longie, but
I think Scott Wind was the last one for the Bulldogs.
maybe just pure wins might do him in.
Might do him in. But even in the losses, like he can stand out because he's always getting taps.
Yeah, but see, Jared Waite's going to steal a lot of votes off him.
Actually, in his defence, I've been pretty heavy on weight because he's been very shit.
I've been too generous.
But this week, he actually did a lot of smart stuff.
Oh, he did a lot of dumb stuff too.
He did a lot of dumb, especially in the first half. He did some dumbass shit.
Jeez, it was funny listening to the crowd around us too.
Oh, there were a couple of times, mark in forward 50. I'm like, yeah, oh, fuck, it's weight. Oh, shit. And sure enough, off the side of the boot. But he hit up a few targets. He played further down the ground a little bit more and managed to earn some possessions as well.
He did kick some nice goals too and took some nice marks.
Yeah, which, if he's up and about, North are probably going to win because the opposition have given up.
Buy a lotto ticket. He's
he
up and
missed
about.
some shockers too, though.
He did.
But on Goldstein, I'll put it to you. Here's a funny one. Who's more important to North Melbourne's chances to win? Goldstein or Nick Del Santo?
Goldstein.
I reckon Nick Del Santo because he has such a cool head and knows when to give the ball and where to give the ball. Goldstein's going to get his 40 plus hitouts every game.
Yep.
There's no doubt there. But let's have a look at this one. He had 45 hitouts. Where's the clearances? 42 to 31. So not as dominant on the clearances and stuff like that. So it's been a little bit funny. But I think that Nick Dale, the team just looks so much different with him in it.
I know what you're saying. Nicky Dale, he's one of those guys, brilliant, either hand, either foot. He can find a target. But if Goldstein drops out, you're looking at replacing with either Brown or Curry, who hasn't had a game in 2 years.
Or Majak.
AFL. No, he can just chill. And you lose either Brown, and then you've got no real inform forward, or if you put Curry up, you've got a bloke who hasn't played AFL football in 2 years.
I think we noticed sitting on the sideline. I reckon Frito spent more time on the bench in this game than he has in the previous 4 or 5. It seemed like he was coming off a lot more for
Maybe
somebody
Ben Brown too, actually.
Brown's still carrying a thumb injury as
He
well.
seemed to have a leg injury, like maybe hamstrings tightening up.
No,
or
that's the way he always runs.
No, he was getting
No,
a lot
he
of
was-
work
he
on
was
the
getting
sideline.
lots of work on the ground. Like he would go on, come back off, lay down, get some work done,
I
talk
think
about
it
it.
might have been his back or something.
Yeah, they
'cause
were crunching him over in that
something.
weird sort of...
Yeah, 'cause we were looking at him going, he looks fucking tiny.
yeah, the way they were crunching him
Yeah.
up, he looked normal size.
Yeah, it was almost like a deck chair getting folded up or something like that.
And just quietly, the physio for North is one of the biggest bastards you've ever
Isn't
seen.
he? Fucking
He's got some
oath.
guns on him, that
Yeah.
fella. He must be a shithouse kick.
Yeah,
He has
exactly.
to be. He's a big lad.
The other thing, is Nick Del Santo in the leadership group of North Melbourne? I'm assuming he would be.
yeah.
Even
Like-
if he's not officially.
The thing is, like, I agree with that he's a very important player, but I wouldn't be surprised if he's sort of holding himself back a bit because he's new in this organisation.
No,
and
not at all. Every time
2
I've
or
seen
3
him...
years now.
well, then, do you think there's a case that he should be captain?
No. Every time he's around the team, you see him always talking to them, always getting involved. Swallow does it as well, but I think people listen to Del Santo more. I think there's people that say Swallow does a lot around the club, behind the scenes and whatnot, and that's fine.
Whatever.
But on game day, Nicky Dal marshals the troops a lot better.
See, I think the captaincy is between Zeeble and Nicky Dal.
Yeah,
I don't think Swallow
Zeeble.
probably should be captain, to be honest.
I agree. I'd put Zeeble as a captain tomorrow.
Yeah.
Every day of the week.
Just because I like throwing up dark horses in there.
No, not
stealing
Actually,
the thunder
sorry, I
there.
forgot to mention, speaking of dark horses, I actually picked Wait for a Smoky for the Coleman at the start of the season. So,
So that's about where we're at.
yeah.
That's not a dark
So
horse.
there goes my credibility.
That's a midnight mule.
You bet on a greyhound at a Melbourne Cup.
In the mould of how Nick Maxwell was a brilliant captain for Collingwood,
Yeah.
Sam Gibson, I reckon would be an all right captain.
Yeah, I don't think he's consolidated his spot well enough. He's good enough to be there most of the time, but I don't think he's got sort of 4 more years guaranteed.
Yeah.
It's not so much, I think he hasn't demanded the respect that players like Zeeble and Del Santo do.
I reckon he's a sleeper.
I reckon he's earned his spot, no doubt about that, but he hasn't earned his respect spot. Like, he's not an automatic inclusion.
After getting a bit of a bathing last week, Robbie
Bathing.
Robbie Tarrant, I reckon he played a really pivotal role on Big Tommy Hawkins. Hawkins took 8 marks and kicked a goal, which sounds okay, but a lot of those marks had to be well down the ground.
Yeah, yep.
You don't mind him taking marks.
And look, let's be honest, Tarrant isn't following him to centre-half back.
Not always. No,
Yeah.
he's like, okay, mate, you can
You
have
can have
that
the
one.
kick down there. I don't care. Who are you going to kick it to? I'm going to spoil it.
He's not a quick giver of the ball either, Hawkins. So if he's marking it at half back, it is slowing up play anyway.
And look, Tarrant seems content to play with one boot on. I don't know if he's been watching Happy Gilmore
for
or
a lot
something,
he did,
but
didn't he?
yeah, it's like, fuck it. Yeah, no, it's on an angle.
He played most of the quarter with one boot.
Yeah.
And the runners had the boot. I don't know whether he just said, "Nah, lads, I'm right," or
It chucks it on the bench, I think.
yeah,
One way to get rid of Tinia, a shit way, but one way.
or maybe that's what put Hawk off.
It could have been.
Yeah, or-
Man with one shoe.
Maybe he's just got a bit of.
He wasn't sure if the goalposts were at an angle or if Tarrant put his hands up on the mark.
Well, Hawkins seems like he might be a bit OCD. He might be those guys that likes his spanners lined up in order of ascension.
He never picked up a spanner in his life.
No, he worked on a farm. Remember, I've seen the fucking ads.
He had the sheep all organised by size, so maybe having an opponent with one shoe just put him off and distract him the whole damn time.
It's a dairy farm. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
You can milk sheep.
So then why the fuck were the sheep there? Tom?
Anyway, let's move on. West Coast and Adelaide. Now, this is obviously going to be an emotional game as well. Adelaide's first game after losing their coach.
Man, had another half hour of North Melbourne game stuff.
We've talked about the emotional stuff, though.
Yep. But I thought you just mentioned it was good to see the Eagles forego the victory song. But enough about that. The game was very decent, which is good to see.
You know what frustrates me about West Coast, though? They've got a quality midfield and then fucking Gaff pops up. What the fuck is that bullshit?
Yeah, fucking oath. Well, like, what's his problem?
You've already got a fucking
Seriously.
top-notch midfield. Fuck
think he
you.
is?
He's all Australian without a doubt.
Him and Maston have been just killing it.
Yeah, I'm going to say they've gone from average players who less so Maston do. You kind of, okay, I know who you are, you play for one of those teams, to, like I said, all Australian.
Yeah.
Shuey's been the same.
They've gone from, like, your consistent 80s Supercoach players to the standouts where you're like, fuck, should have got him at a discount at the start of the season.
I'll tell you what, I reckon a lot of the recruiting managers will be saying the same shit.
Yeah.
There'll be a few letters sent out as well, pretty fucking soon.
The funniest thing I saw on Facebook was, like, some of the Crow supporters. I mean, let's be honest, they're not the most rational supporters. And that's coming from a Richmond supporter.
When you talk Facebook supporters, I think the bar is set pretty low, regardless of the club.
Yeah. But I heard someone complained about, can't believe the umpires robbed us of this game. It's like they had a 17-7 free kick count, and that doesn't account for a 56-point loss and also 122 less disposals.
Yeah, but I heard the same thing in the Freo versus Hawthorn game, and that was a 12-goal loss,
Yeah.
so never mind that. Look, that's been the thing with West Coast, is they're just trundling along. Their midfield is probably the best spread midfield in the competition at the minute.
But it's not just their best 4. It's their best 6.
That's what I mean.
That's the thing, is they don't have like a centre structure. They've got from square to square, like from edge of the square to the other edge of the square. That's their centre.
Which Adam Simpson has obviously put a lot of time into that. This is his second year at West Coast, I think.
Yeah, I know.
It's just full year, I believe.
No, he because Woosher retired, he didn't get pushed out.
Although he's got his name in the hat for that Adelaide job, doesn't he?
No, he's a director of coaching at Adelaide.
Basically, he put his name in the hat for the coaching job.
He's said, I don't want it.
Right.
He's taken his name out.
Yep.
They're looking very Hawthorn-like with their midfield in that they rotate people through there.
Yeah.
But the people they're rotating through there have got some absolute quality. So that when, if Pritis is off having a rest, then Elliot Yeo's in there. It's such an impressive midfield. It reminds you of their 05-06 team.
Yeah, and I do think back to the start of the season where I think all of us tipped them to drop off and make finals.
Everyone did.
Yep.
Yeah, fuck that one right up.
I can't see him dropping out of the top two.
No,
Well,
I think it's going to be Western Australia, top two.
I think next week, if they win, you've got to talk about it as a flag chance.
I think in the next 3 weeks they've got, in no particular order, Collingwood, Sydney and Hawthorn. So, and they play Sydney and Hawthorn both at home. And don't have return matches against those. And they've got Freo coming up as well. So, look, against those four clubs, if they win 2, that's it. They're top 2 for the year. And I think they'll win more than 2.
Yeah, guaranteed.
The thing is, too, that they've got a pretty decent injury list. Like, there's no players that seem to be carrying injury or always in and out of the spot. So they're consistent. They've got good list management. They've got up and coming. Fuck me, they're going to be so dangerous. Not just this year, but for the next few.
And the thing is, with West Coast, I think that they obviously you got Pritis, but I think they don't have just a couple of out-and-out stars that are holding them up. I think they're, I don't know if you call it, the mean of the skill of their team is higher than other teams.
Yes. That's what it is.
And that's what premierships get won by.
Yep.
You say that, I agree. They don't have that out-and-out star, but when you look at it, they've got the reigning Brownlow medalist running in the midfield, and the Coleman medalist leader at the minute up at the full forward.
But that's why
they're not out and out superstars.
But that's what I think separates them from their premiership era team, is that they had a midfield that just fucking dominated. Like
they had the best midfield.
Like
I've
each
ever
of
seen.
Those individual players, you could build a team around a midfield on any other team.
Yeah.
And with this one, I think that, like you said, with Kennedy up forward, they've got it's so hard to cover their spread. If that makes sense from a gambling terminology, that it's very difficult for a team to get a match up holistically over their team.
Look,
yes,
it's only strategy that'll beat them.
The biggest things is, like we said, their spread of quality midfielders, but also their biggest issue was injury to key backman, and McGovern stepped up. And it's become one of the best in the league.
And Maston has made sure that it hasn't gone into the back or their full back line. It gets their centre-half back, and he's all over it.
And very overdue, Dom Sheed got the NAB Rising Star nomination this week. Which is good to see, because he's been absolutely killing it as well.
Yeah, it's like they already penciled in a few other people before it actually come to him. So
they just had to wait.
Yeah, exactly. The other thing that was mentioned with, I can't remember if it was Adelaide's CEO or list manager or someone from Adelaide came out and said that Dangerfield's decision isn't based on winning premierships, it's based on lifestyle. You'd have to think that he's gone if Adelaide representatives come out and say that.
The way he played over the weekend, I think he's as determined to honour the club as anyone, because he really stepped up. He broke down after the match.
He's had a good year on the field.
But the hard sell with Adelaide is always lifestyle. We're getting people from Melbourne. It's really hard to keep them. And if they say that Dangerfield's decision is going to be based on not on winning premierships but lifestyle, you'd have to think that means that lifestyle is going back to Geelong.
Well, Geelong's lifestyle isn't so different from Adelaide.
Family.
Yeah, family. That's it. Lifestyle means like that's where your family are and that sort of thing. So it's not like the actual environment. It's who's there, as opposed to anything else.
Look, and it's interesting to see with all the turmoil that's going on, what that means for his decision. I'm sure that he'll come out and say it whichever way he goes, stay or goes, and I still believe he's going to stay. He'll say it hasn't impacted or changed my decision, but it has to.
Look, I think he's gone, but I think it'll actually be a positive for Adelaide. I think it'll free up cap room, and I think they've got young players coming through that they can draw on that'll give them a chance to step up. And I don't think his role will be given to one other person. I think it'll be split up between 2 or 3.
When you look at the ruck duel in this, I heard some of the commentators say Sam Jacobs is one of the form ruckmen of the comp. I think that's horse shit.
I think he's in top 5 at the minute.
So you stop reading the advertiser.
I think Nat Nui pantsed him. And Nat Nui did about 3 times this game what I have no fucking clue why ruckmen don't do more often.
Yeah.
He thump it.
Well, he leapt to touch the ball rather than leapt to be landing when the ball's coming in reach. Put it out ahead of the player who knew it was going to fucking be there.
Yeah.
I think it was...
Almost like they practiced it.
Yeah, fuck me. Like they communicated and shit. I think it was Yo he tapped to.
Yeah.
Yo picked the ball up one bounce and bang,
go.
straight in the forward line. Why the fuck is that not happening more often? Especially at Freo when you got Sandilands, who's bloody 7 feet tall. How the fuck are you not tapping it to your player?
I don't understand why you have anyone in the centre circle at all. You have them all right behind and just charge. Just punch it forward and everyone just charges.
St Kilda and GWS played on Sunday morning. The Saints' Twitter was one of the highlights of the match. They were getting into it, doing as many Simpsons references as they could. It was very disappointing to see Shields go down.
Yeah.
Because he's been one of my 15 smokies for the Brownlow this year. And it looks like he might be spending a couple of weeks on the sidelines.
He's a quality player too. He's a player you love to see play.
Jeremy Cameron had a lazy 5 goals. I think he hit 4 in the first half even. He might have had 4 on the board before St Kilda had 1.
Yeah.
But some of his tackling was unbelievable. It's good to see somebody as athletic as him not just being athletic in the forward line, but doing the chasing and bouncing and going around Shepherds to try and get to the man and cause the turnover.
Well, back to Shields for a sec. His knee is what caused the injury, and they reckon, well, according to Doc Larkins, it's 12 weeks, which means he's probably going to play in a couple.
Which means he's hurt his elbow.
Probably.
He's got athlete's foot.
And the other thing is, admittedly, I didn't actually watch much of this game, but just by looking at the stats, Saints should have won. I don't see how they lost just by looking at the stats.
Yeah,
So what was it that went wrong?
They murdered the ball.
Yeah, it was really insipid at times. Look, they had more inside 50s. They had more of the ball.
And 6-13.
6-13 doesn't help.
But I heard heaps of raps about Josh Bruce after the game.
Where'd
Where'd they come from?
For me, he had limited opportunities. But
Just made the most of them.
Well, he took a couple of nice marks,
right?
To be honest, I think
He was getting monstered a fair bit too.
He was.
But he's a pick-up from GWS as well, isn't he?
Is he?
I think he might be.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep. All right.
Sure.
I'm not sure.
I have no idea, but yes,
he's come from
Done.
nowhere this year.
Done.
But,
All right. So yeah, recruited from GWS, bargain price, and really paying dividends as a St Kilda investment.
He likes swimming and rock climbing in his spare time.
And Tim Membry is actually a Dungeons and Dragons aficionado. He's globally ranked at 43.
Globally ranked, he's a dungeon master.
Sure.
Nick Rewalt had a bit of a twinge. I think it was calf tightness or something like that, and he's in doubt for this week.
He's playing this
No,
week.
he is
He's
playing
playing
this
this week.
There is no way he's not
Guaranteed.
playing.
Ain't no fucking chance.
Well, we'll
Matty-
go through that in a little bit, but
It's Matty's match, so he'll be up for that.
Yeah.
it's massive.
What was I going to say? Maverick Wellick did a nice goal with that nice little run around on the boundary line. But while we're throwing up smokies, David Armitage, he could sneak in.
He's a smoky.
I don't think he'll get it, but I wouldn't be surprised if he polls in the teens, the high teens.
I think that's a guarantee. I think a winning Brownlow will be high 20s because you're going to have 5.
If 5 gets
70.
reported.
I think a Brownlow will come from a winning team. That's what'll let him down is wins.
It's Fife Brownlow. He's got 40 votes already.
Yeah.
So if it's not him, then it's that's what we're talking about.
And providing you listen to this on Tuesday night, the results of that tribunal should be done.
No, it's already done. He got a fine.
You got fined.
He got a
Fined,
fine.
yeah.
We'll cover that in the next game.
All right.
Yeah, but look, do they play Richmond before the season's out?
Yes.
Yeah. Does Dusty have any debts to people that?
Dusty doesn't pay debts; he collects debts.
Well, no, I was just wondering. He might have a few bikie mates who might want to make a bit of money.
He's got plenty of fucking biking mates that want to make heaps of money.
So maybe they bet on someone who's not Fife, and Dusty's trying to headbutt his fist all night.
I think they're more the type of people who see the umpires after the match and say, "Hey, so who'd you vote for in this game, son?"
Go the easy way.
Yeah.
cut to
Work
the
smart, not hard.
That's it.
Some bikie just wrote down a note after that. He's like, "Fuck yeah, I should have thought of that shit."
Oh, I'm pleased they learnt to write. Tom Scully, I thought, is...
I'm looking for an apprenticeship.
He's done all right. He's starting to look like an AFL player. He's still not $1 million a year player, but that'll get sorted out once his contract ends this year.
Yep.
Well, I'll just pick it quietly. I don't think his new contract will be for $1 million.
Carmichael Hunt got paid $1 million, didn't he?
Yeah, but that was recycled back into the club.
Speaking of bikies.
But just imagine Scully walking into that contract negotiation. All right, here's our offer. It's pretty
lower.
It's lower, and in fact, I think you're paying us. But yeah, that's your job.
You owe us from here on in.
Yeah,
And you're buying lunch.
It is a shame this game. I was hoping for a bit of a shootout actually with Cam McCarthy and Bruce and Jeremy Cameron. There's going to be 400 goals between the lot of them when it's all said and done.
And to be honest, they're not
Didn't
generally
really turn out that way.
defensive-minded teams either.
No. And that was something good with GWS because the issues they've got, all their backmen are out injured, and their ruckmen.
Yeah.
But they didn't concede many goals at all, just 6. So
no, and apparently Patton is going to be coming back
he
too.
played in the NEFL and got through the game, which is a great start for him.
The thing is, Patton always comes back just after you've forgotten about him.
Yeah.
You're like, that's right, fucking number 1 draft pick. Patton, he's a gun with no knees.
With no knees, poor bastard.
But he has that one good season, or it's going to be worth watching.
He was almost there last year too.
Yeah.
It looked like it.
Yeah.
On to what was supposed to be match of the round and turned into a bit of a pounding. Hawthorn Freo, and I've got to be honest, I haven't seen the second half of this one yet, but I'll be watching it again on replay tonight. I've watched the highlights. This was as impressive as last year's grand final. There was a lot of questions about both sides going into this game, and I think the only question that really got answered is that at their best, Hawthorn are better than anybody else. And we saw them at their best. Yep. Okay.
Yep.
Thanks, guys.
I was trying to actually work in a way that Richmond are better, but I was like, nah, shit, I can't.
Well, haven't played Richmond yet.
Yeah, I know, but we beat Freo, and I'm like, Hawks, nah, they always fucking got the wood on us. Not the wood, they're always just better than us.
No, Richmond have been a bit of the bogey side for Hawthorn the last few years. You get beaten by Richmond, that's usually a good sign.
Yeah, but never in important games.
No, always mid-season. We never play important games against Richmond. It's fucking Richmond.
Well, this is true. But I think, well, looking at my notes, Hawks had 119 more disposals. They dominated stoppages. Clearances were 49-30, stoppages 32-22, tackles 83-58.
Look, lost the hit-outs 58-44, won the clearances.
But I think the key to that is you lose hit-outs, but your tackles are 83-58 with 119 more disposals.
It says something, doesn't it?
It says a lot.
That's a lot of a mindset.
Yeah.
Well, surely other teams are going to look at the way they played Sandilands, which was run him ragged. They had McAvoy and Hale double team him essentially at all times and just kept him moving. He doesn't have a great engine.
Well, they dropped Segler for this match to bring in McAvoy. McAvoy's been killing it in the VFL because he's too good for VFL. Yeah. Segler had done nothing wrong, but they just dropped him for the bigger body. And thought we're going to pound on Sandilands all night. Every time he did tap it to advantage, there were at least two tacklers on the Fremantle player, and they weren't grabbing tackles. They were wrapping up. You're going fucking nowhere, son. Tackles.
Yeah. Which again is the most frustrating thing about Sandilands. He gets first touch as often as not.
Hey, whack it clear.
Yeah.
Let Fife run onto it.
Or I don't know. Let the lads know what you're going to do. Just say,
it's
all right,
your
lads,
choice.
This is going forward left. This is going forward right.
Yep.
Be fucking moving.
Yeah.
It's like we're using a lot of MMA analogies tonight, but it's like if you're the dominant wrestler in an MMA fight, you get to decide where the fight takes place.
Yeah, exactly.
He's the dominant ruckman. He gets to decide where the ball's going.
Yep. Like you're going to have to get that clearance from where he taps it.
And look, this isn't a new problem for Freo. It's been one that's been around. You can't dominate the taps that well and not dominate the clearances equally.
And the thing is, like, the only way I can see that you defend against someone with such a clear advantage in tap-outs is that you're already anticipating or you've worked out their patterns that they run at a centre clearance, or that team isn't communicating properly. Because the only way that I think you could feasibly defend against that properly is to play man-on-man. But if you already know who it's going to go to, then you should have the advantage in that man-on-man contest. And so it looks like they double team where they think it's going to go, and a lot of times they're right.
Yep.
So it looks like it's getting predictable. Whatever they're doing, I think they need to scrap whatever their plan is and say, we'll just say it's going to you.
Well, yeah, and I don't know, fucking talk to each other a lot.
Yeah.
Speaking of talk, there was a fair bit of it. I know a lot of the pundits and papers and authors have to fill columns, and that's fine. But one thing that came out was I think
Phil Collins.
He's a cock. But I think it was Gary Lyon had a crack at Sam Mitchell. And
Speaking of cocks.
yeah, and the Greater Hawthorn side about their unsociable football and their, well, I think he called it thuggery. But if you're winning by 90 points, do you really give a fuck?
Thing is, trying to say that football's unsociable, like, get the fuck out of here.
Robert Walls,
Suck my cock.
Robert Walls coined that term, and he meant it as a term of endearment. He liked it.
Yeah, it is. Like, what are you supposed to go? How you going, mate? How's your family going? It's like, huh?
As long as you're not belting people, which
Belt them.
You
Go
know,
for it.
Hawthorn have done that in the past, but in this match, they just were harder. And that's part of being a better football team.
Okay.
Name me a premiership squad that played sociable football.
Yep.
North Coast Social Club, Div 4 women's champions, whatever.
Look, the raising the knee into Fife, I think it's only become... It is funny how when it happened to Taylor Walker, it looked absolutely innocuous.
Yeah.
No, not innocuous, because it did hurt him. But it looked like it was just, oh, fuck, what am I doing? And he had no time to even think, let alone doing it on purpose. So, and everyone seemed pretty fine with that, except Taylor Walker.
Yeah.
Now it's happened again. They've gone, oh, maybe. For me, it is still an instinctive reaction. Why is it different? It's happened twice because it's an instinctive reaction. Isn't it going to happen twice at least?
Yeah, look, honestly, I think that this is
Or
just
I'm
a
just
case
defending
of...
Hawthorn players.
I think it's just a case of writers having to write. I've got no interest in defending Hawthorn players, but I think you've got to allow players to protect themselves and allow players to make contact. It's going to happen. There's going to be corkies, there's going to be injuries, there's going to be body contact. There's going to be people laid out, like we saw Selwood over the weekend, and that's just the game we play.
Having said that, I do think it's instinctive, but it's obviously it is still dangerous if that knee comes up a little bit higher in such a short amount of time, and it can cause injury. I'm kind of okay with a fine because it does say we know you're not doing this on purpose, but you've got to change. Because if it does collect somebody sweet, in a kidney or something like that, that's pretty fucking dangerous.
Yeah, see, the way I look at it is like when, say, you drive on the road and you're turning and you almost hit the person in front of you that's turning and they get really angry and it's like, but did I hit you? No, nothing happened. So do you want a hug? Or shut the fuck up. That's the way I look at it.
Do you get many hugs on the road when you're driving?
Never. Offered heaps, but nah, they just
Fucking
swear at
bastards.
me. So, yeah. But I look at it that way, whereas like if nothing happened, there should be consideration to what the end result was. And the intention, it's kind of there, but hey, you give them a fine, give them a slap on the wrist, but don't rip them off a Brownlow medal or any sort of accreditation that comes from those sort of things where you might not get that if you get banned for a game.
Well, that obviously leads us on to the Nat Fife incident, which was the spoil on Taylor Juraya.
Fucked my... I've still got Brownlow vets on.
You had Drea for Brownlow?
No, I've got Brownlow bets on people other than Fife, so I'm hoping he does get suspended. But unfortunately, I think I've got Bontempelli and Gray, and they've had shit seasons, so I'm probably not going to win.
Gray's been all right.
He's been
a great
decent. He's not
Yeah,
Brownlow
injured,
form.
Oh, I don't know. He's not far. You get a lot of votes, Gray. Look, he got a 50-metre penalty, and I thought that was fair enough.
Yeah.
I don't think it needed suspension.
No.
He got a fine, which I actually like because it makes it so tight now. Because if he gets, it's like a second strike.
Yeah.
Now he's on that tender hooks. If he gets that third strike, he's out.
Yeah.
So any little innocuous thing that he gets done for, geez, it makes it exciting.
Yeah, but see, I'm a big fan of the fine as opposed to the suspension and the... Well, to be honest, I think that you shouldn't have best and fair. It should be the best.
Yep.
I think it should be MVP.
Best and most brilliant.
Yeah. If you get suspended and you still win a Brownlow, fucking more power to you.
Yep. I agree.
And what we brought up, and I mentioned this when we were at the games, was Corey McKernan. Lost a Brownlow for what was a pretty piss weak knee.
Yep.
Like, I think it should have been a free kick and that's it. And I hate to see good players not get their due reward because of some bullshit interpretation
that
that
destroyed
I think
Corey
is shared by
McKernan.
everyone.
He never recovered.
He didn't either.
Oh,
He
yeah,
played
fucked
shit
up
out
Sean
after that.
McKernan too. I mean, he hasn't recovered from that too.
That's how bad it was.
Got the whole fam. But with that, I think that'll happen in our lifetime. They'll change
Yeah.
the Brownlow rules,
It's gonna,
and with a bit of luck, the umpires won't be voting for it either.
Yeah, exactly.
I can't see him changing it though. It's been 70 odd years. This
Once they get up to
That's
3
more
billion for
reason
the
to
TV
change it
rights.
for me, though. I don't see that's the way it's always been as a reason for keeping it. I think that's more reason
but
to change it.
you know that a lot of them are in love with that kind of tradition.
I know. Fuck those guys.
Yeah, they die eventually.
Yeah,
But,
that's exactly what I was going to say. Is they're dead soon. So.
imagine though when they change it over, you'll have like a 95-year-old Corey McKernan collecting his retrospective Brownlow, like we had with the guys who lost on countbacks.
That they got their
Yeah,
retrospective,
and they didn't give a fuck in the end. They're like, oh yeah, that's.
I'm sure one or
That's
two of them
Yeah.
were like,
I'm
no,
not for
no,
giving out
that's
retrospectives.
lovely.
I'm just for changing the rules and we play it as it lays from there on in.
Yeah, I think it would be a good move, but I can't see it happening. Not in my lifetime. I hope it does, but I can't see it
but I
happening.
think we're too heavy-handed with penalties in AFL. I think we're becoming a bit too overregulated. And the other thing is that
when was
what
the
we're
last
talking about-
verbal?
What we're talking about was that a lot of the rules that change aren't the actual rules that change, it's the
interpretation
interpretation of the rule that
Makes it
changes,
so
which makes it
freaking
so hard. And like we're talking about with the
Sling tackles or
sling tackle, we were saying that when that happened, nobody knew whether that was going to be a match or whether it was going to be a match or what was going to happen with it. It was all speculation. It should be cut and dry.
But that's a hallmark of AFL. There's all of it's open to interpretation.
And
But the thing is, there's general rules for free kicks, but rules for having someone have to be banned for a game, I think, should be a different kettle of fish.
Well, that's what they try to do with the point system, and it turned out that there's too much variation between incidents to have a cut and dry. That's 1, that's 2, that's 3.
Well, when you get lawyers involved in those sorts of things, it just becomes a whole different ballgame.
I do think the point system was an improvement though, because it used
Yeah.
to be, that's free.
Yeah. And then the next person gets that job the next year, and all of a sudden it's completely different.
So it is still hard to put an objective measure against a subjective thing.
I think we have to stop being so precious,
Yeah,
to be honest. If you want to...
it's a contact sport.
If you want to look at safety, I think we have to be way more educated. And this sort of falls into what we've banged on about with tackles, and the proper way to tackle someone is different to what we actually do. So
I've got to be honest. I think that going side on to the contest to try and put your hips there when you're picking up the ball, I reckon I've seen it happen so much more in the last 3 weeks than I have in the previous 3 years.
yeah, that's a good point.
I think
actually.
it is improving a lot.
Yeah, I've seen a lot fewer people dive in with their head over the ball in that dangerous way, where you just see them almost put their forehead to the ground. And even on the weekend, we didn't see Selwood do it. Well, I didn't see him do it once.
We didn't see him get rewarded for doing it.
No,
I saw him get split open, which that's
just what happens.
And hey, I was bagging the different changes in interpretation. That's one change of interpretation that's actually been better.
I think so too. And
Give credit there.
It is hard at times, that interpretation, but
Yeah.
I believe it is on the whole being better. But look, in this game, I'll give another slap to Fremantle first. What do you think was more pathetic?
Ballantyne.
Fremantle supporters blaming the umpires or blaming that the game was in Tasmania for the loss? It doesn't matter which one anyway, that's rhetorical.
It doesn't matter.
Not only are we offensive, but we're educational.
Actually,
I'll tell you what was actually more pathetic was the knee-jerk reaction afterwards that everybody's gone, Fremantle are pathetic. They can't win the
Fremantle are
premiership.
fucked, yeah.
They lost one fucking game.
Yeah, in Tasmania.
well, it's surprising how many people came out and attacked Pavlich too.
He is down on form.
Yeah.
He kicked 1 goal too. In a team that only kicked 6 goals. But scoring has been their problem for the last couple of years, and it
but
doesn't
the
look
thing
like
is-
something they've sorted yet.
Winning hasn't been their problem this year, and that counts for a lot. So I think that perhaps if he can have a lesser role and that sort of key role is spread between 2 or 3 people, then it's better for Freo,
Yeah.
which it has been. You got Stephen Hill. Is he the little fella running up forward?
No, you're trying to think of Michael Walters?
Walters, yeah,
Yep.
Walters.
And you're a racist cunt.
Yeah. And that's just filled that role.
Michael Walters is a superstar in waiting. If he becomes more consistent, he's got such a good leap on him.
It's the year of the small forward, though.
Yeah.
The forward pocket. It's the year of the forward pocket.
Which is funny. Year of the small forward, and Hayden Ballantyne's gone missing.
Yeah, yeah.
Anybody having a go
They
at
don't come
Pavlich-
much smaller.
Yeah.
No. You're having a go at Pavlich, I think you're looking in the wrong area.
Yeah.
Ballantyne's been quite poor. Fremantle have got an easier month ahead of them, and he needs to sort himself out. Otherwise, he might find himself in the waffle. And when the team's playing against easier sides, somebody else is going to take his spot.
Yeah. That's the worst thing is if he plays in the waffle and they do really good because they're going to be playing finals.
Yep.
And they're looking good for a premiership.
Ballantyne's at his best when he's combative and
Being an arsehole.
Yeah, exactly. And he's just been okay. Like he hasn't tried to impose himself. Hasn't
been okay.
piss people off.
He's been far less than okay for me.
Yeah.
Especially in this game. But, I mean, the whole team had a bad day. Even Nat Fyfe had 20 touches. That's been his lowest for the year. And just having a quick look, looks like about 10 Hawks had more touches than Nat Fyfe.
But do you think this will mean Freo look at it and go, we've got so much more to work for. We've got to work harder, harder, harder. Or do you think they go, oh, we're so far away, we'll wait for next year?
Nah, fuck that. They're still sitting on top of the ladder. They've got to. It's this year. They can't sit back and go, no, not next year. I wouldn't be surprised if Ross Lyon didn't put all his cards on the table either. I think he might have a few more tricks up the sleeve. But look, at the end of the day, some of the ball movement from Hawthorn out of half-back, there were 2 or 3 of the times when they got goals, it looked like Harlem Globetrotter stuff. Yeah. It was amazing to see. 82% disposal efficiency they had on the night. I don't care who you are. If Hawthorn's having 82% disposal efficiency, you're not winning.
That's almost better
be a season high.
That's almost better than basketball.
Yeah. It just goes to show that when at their absolute best, they can't be beaten.
Yeah. Just out of curiosity, does anyone know what sort of the size comparison is of the oval down at Tassie as compared to, say, Freo or MCG?
It's made of grass.
Freo's narrower. Subiaco's a little bit narrower. I think that the ground is not really the size; it's more the openness.
Right.
If you understand, because the stands aren't as big.
Okay,
So they say it's almost a suburban. Well, I guess it kind of is a suburban ground. So it's those kind of conditions is what people talk about, and it's fucking cold,
swirling breezes.
So I was wondering if, you don't plan your season game plan around being played at that oval. Is what I'm trying to get at. Could that have played an effect, or
No, I wouldn't think so.
It's not going to be a change in the result, but is it sort of one consideration?
No, I think Lyon would have wanted to stamp Hawthorn down. If you can knock off the reigning premiers and knock them off in such a way that they fear playing you in the finals, that's what you're going to do. Especially if
but why did they fail? Is what I'm getting at. Why did they fail?
He went there with a full strength side. He wasn't conceding this one. Well, they failed because Hawthorn were on.
That's the only thing I'm trying to figure out where they went wrong, because they had a full squad. Because we were saying last week that
it would be
wouldn't be surprised if they just had a few Windy Hill colds going around.
Yeah,
or something
general
like
soreness.
That. Yeah, general soreness. But they didn't. They came here to win.
I purely believe it was just like
shit.
It was a grand final last year. Hawthorn were on.
Yeah,
like I said, it's when one team's on and you're just off. It's not looking good.
Well, to me, it's like we were saying earlier. Hawthorn are a more physical side. That's the way finals football is played.
Yep.
You play finals football as a maximum physicality possible.
Yep.
And sometimes you go over the line. That's what finals football is about. Hawthorn has been playing finals football all year. That night, Freo didn't.
And the thing is, you only go over the line if you lose.
Yeah, I disagree. I've been very critical of Hawthorn because I think they've done enough.
Because you tried to be fair.
No, like last week against Collingwood. Collingwood beat them everywhere but the scoreboard.
Yeah.
And they've, against Essendon, they didn't really put Essendon to the sword, but they did. Essendon were crap, and they did enough to win. This is Hawthorn's best game for the year, and the last time they played like this was really round 1.
Yep.
So it's been a long time to put a full effort like that, but it was clinical at times. Even the goal kicking, which has been part of Hawthorn's problem. That one that Hodge slotted from the pocket, a beautiful camera view right behind him. One issue they do have is, Ruffy's still got fucking cancer, trying to sort that shit out.
Yeah.
He'll be a couple more weeks.
Well, isn't that a kind of a crazy sort of thing? Like, guys break arms, it's 12 weeks, whatever. Oh, got cancer. Oh, be back in a month.
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
But Jack Gunston, I think he's kicked probably 2 goals in the last 3 or 4 weeks. He's been goalless more than once in the last month.
Yep.
His finger is a real issue for him. I wouldn't mind if he had a week or 2 out, having a rest. Sam Grimley is, I think, first or second in the goal kicking in the VFL. So you've got another key forward who's in the wings waiting. But I don't know if you're going to rest him when you're coming up against Sydney next week.
I thought I saw, I think Gunston got 3 this match.
3 what? Kicks?
Just out of curiosity, is Gunston's nickname Norm?
Yep.
Has to be. He's
No, it is. 'Cause I
Faith restored.
because I remember after the 2013 grand final, they were joking and calling him, "Hey,
Norm."
good game, Normie. Good game, Normie."
Well played, Hawthorn. Well played.
And he thought, yeah, well, that's what they always call me. Oh, no.
That's right, yeah.
Sorry, Josh, what were you going to say?
Oh, I was just going to say, like you said, Gunston, it's fine to be good enough. Like, and he's got the massive talent, and he's been accurate for so long. But he's been struggling the last couple of sides and probably been covered off because Hawthorn's been winning. So, with guys waiting in the wings, if your mate comes up and Gunston does all right in the VFL, who do you want in this team going forward?
No. I don't want him in the VFL. I'm saying he's injured. He needs a couple of weeks off. He doesn't play VFL. I think he's reached that level now where if he's injured, he's not down on form.
Yeah, you don't need to prove that you're sort of the quality that gets in this team.
Yeah.
You're there.
It was, I think it might have been in the St Kilda game. He dislocated or broke his finger, and that's why he's put on the glove.
Yep.
Like Travis Cloak. I think it'd be good to have a couple of weeks off, and obviously Hawthorn would be smart enough to do it if it would make a difference, and it must be one of those things where it needs surgery, and you're going to be out for 2 months, so they're going to wait.
The thing is, a dislocated finger, you can't use that excuse after Darren Creswell, with Darren Creswell, when he's trying to knock his fucking knee back into joints so we can go back on.
Yeah.
Like, it's really hard to be like, yeah, I'm out for a couple of weeks with a dislocated finger. When old mate's on the sidelines banging his knee back into place.
Daniel Chick got his amputated because it was getting too much trouble.
Yeah, that's right.
He did the chopper read.
All right, that's enough tangents for Hawthorn and Freo.
Yeah.
We'll move on to the last game, which was Sydney versus Brisbane. Boring as shit. Brisbane eventually ran out of legs, and the Swans got over the line. But
I think it was 2 goals in the third. Brisbane were ahead by, and then Sydney got over the line, kicked 4-0 to win it.
Kicked. I think in the last quarter and a half, they kicked 4 goals,
and that was the crux of it. Yeah,
it was good to see a game where people weren't booing Goods, probably because
no fucker was there.
No one was there. But Goods would have been pretty happy with that.
Dane Zorko had a day out, though. 30 touches and 2 unbelievable goals, including the nice volley from the top of the goal square. After a brilliant smother, he just picked it out of mid-air, and that was very pretty. But look, Sydney were disappointing in their win over Port, and the previous week, I think, was a loss to Richmond.
Yeah.
So they really need to stamp something. I know Josh Kennedy came out and said he was disappointed in his own performances.
They were disappointed
with 41
in this win.
touches, yeah.
They were disappointed in this win, let's be honest.
Yeah, it wasn't pretty, but winning ugly has been a bit of their trait in the last couple of months.
Better than losing pretty.
I didn't realise Pierce Henley had 33 posies or disposals. He came back from injury this year, yeah?
Yeah, I think did he do his shoulder or something in about round 2? Something like that.
Yeah. Because he had a pretty decent season last year, especially coming across one of the Irish recruits.
Yeah.
He's been one of the promising ones too. So it's good to see that he had a good sort of role in a losing squad.
And Beams did all right too. And that's the frustrating thing about Brisbane. You look at Hanley, Beams, Rich, a few of those other guys who have...
Clay Beams as well, who's out injured now, but he was killing it when he was in there.
But you see these talented players, and you're thinking, how the fuck are you guys so far down?
Yeah. Yep.
What the fuck is wrong? Because a prime midfield
it has to be everything else.
Yeah, they've had injuries on top of injuries.
Yeah, true. And it seems like they've also had injured hearts, because you see a lot of guys who wander around with their head down. They're not really as hungry as you expect them to be.
Definitely, but they've had board troubles as well. It's hard to go into a season confident when there's no stability behind you.
But also you see guys like Christensen comes in to decide to have a bit more veteran effect, bit of class, and show nothing to me.
I'm going to be honest.
I think he's tried.
He's tried. I could be honest though. I thought he was overrated when he was at Geelong.
Yeah, so did I.
So they were hoping for a little bit too much when they got him.
Yeah,
maybe so.
Big Sauce Bottle Merritt had one of the best hips and shoulders you've seen. Lined up a bloke who had no idea what was coming.
They're the best
got him
ones.
Absolutely sweet. And what I loved about it was knocked him cold. got up and just ran back to his position like it was nothing.
I'm going to say, if it's country football, the only way that gets better if it's in front of the grandstand.
This was right in front of the bench.
Sweet.
But I like, you say somebody for the Swans, go in and fly the colours and that. I think there was only one person near there, it was Parker, and he sort of took one step and went, no, it was fair play.
Well, he flew half the colours.
I'm not saying Parker was scared.
He flew white.
He respected it. He went, good bump. I'm going to let that one go.
So that's like a cricketer getting bowled and going, that was a top ball.
Good ball, man. It was, again, let's go back to UFC. It was after Chad Mendes got a few in Connor, and Connor even went, yep.
Yeah.
Gave him a nod. Yep.
Okay.
No, well done.
You got a point.
To be honest, he said, yep, that's all you've got.
Respect where it's given.
I'm not lying, that's actually what he said.
How many kicked 10 goals, 6 from the Bondi Billionaires, which is an okay return. But look, I still say Sauce Bottle had Franklin on. He won that matchup for the day, but there was a couple of there where Franklin's been lazy and staying on the outside, waiting for the ball to come out, and Brisbane weren't clean.
But to be fair, I mean, you
him.
call it lazy, but when he played at Hawthorn, his role wasn't to be there and doing that sort of thing. Like that was his spot.
Yeah.
And he'd grab it, put it onto his left, and it's a goal.
Yeah.
So it's probably a bit of adjustment, but I think he was a better Hawthorn player than he is a Sydney player.
Last year was his best year, I think, since 2008.
Yeah.
But he hasn't. He's still done all right. He hasn't been as impressive this year, but
it will never be bad. Let's put it that way.
No.
He's a quality player and will always be good at whatever team he plays in.
And I think he's worth the stupid money that he's on.
Yes, I do too. Actually,
with the other half of the Bondi Billionaires tippet, they used him in a different fashion again here. He got quite a few
selling
hits.
records.
Well, if only.
He's tall. You can reach out.
Yeah, but he was their primary ruckman for a lot of. He was their most effective ruckman, I should say.
Well, I think that's more of a comment on Pike. Who hasn't been as impressive this year as well. Look, Leuenberger's been okay, but...
we think if there's a weakness of Sydney, it's their ruck stocks. They don't have a
has been,
dominant ruckman.
Yep.
It'll be interesting to see if Teddy Richards comes back this week as well. He had the week off with a concussion after the Shooks tackle. Look, they're playing Hawthorn, so they might say, you know what, we need him, or they might say, well, Hawthorn haven't got Roughead, so your key matchup is not there anyway.
Yeah.
But look, Sydney have, again, won ugly, weren't that impressive, but it's amazing how that'll change next week when they play Hawthorn. Because they will. They turn up for the big games.
Yep.
Let's move on to round 16 then, very quickly. Friday night, Etihad Stadium, North versus Essendon. Look, North have got to win this one. They have to.
Well, everything says North should, in terms of the last week of form, what's going on with Essendon, what's happening with North, which probably means it'll end up being a scrappy as fuck game and North will end up losing it by 10 goals. But who really fucking knows with North or Essendon?
Petrie's out hurts him.
Boomer will start and act like he's got stuck in a Benny Cousins stash. He'll be all over the ground.
Boomer for 3 votes.
Yep.
Cats and the Bulldogs at Skilled Stadium. I think that's the only reason I'll tip the Cats, but Bulldogs are up and about.
No, I've got the Bulldogs head and shoulders. I think they'll win and win convincingly.
Yeah, look, I unconfidently tip the Cats, but I'll be really happy if the Bulldogs can go across there and give some worth to a season that I think has been a win.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're still in the 8.
Yep.
Where are they sitting? 6th. Interesting to see how the Cats go without Selwood as well, because he's not appealing.
Yeah.
That decision, he's going to take his match or two.
And the thing is, with Geelong, they're one of those teams where if you lose a player like that, it's not like you give this opportunity to like 2 or 3 players to fill in that role. Like he is that good that that's a hole that you don't fill.
Well, yeah, they just got Bartel back and now Selwood's out, so they'd have to be hating.
Yeah.
Not happy with that at all.
No.
Suns Gold Coast versus Giants GWS. I don't know why I said that backwards, but fuck it. Up at Metricon Stadium. This would have been a whitewash about a month ago. Now with Ablett back, GWS are playing good, but I think they might have too much firepower up forward.
No, I reckon Big General Patton will be back. And
No.
Yeah, let's bring him back. Fuck it.
Too early.
Get him in.
He's had half a game in the kneeful. Too early.
That's enough.
You said that you thought like a couple of weeks ago it's be a whitewash. I still think it will be, but with the Suns.
You reckon the Suns?
I think the Suns will destroy them. I think 10 goals plus.
No, I'm back in GWS.
Dixon out for the Suns. Shields out for Giants, which is the bigger loss.
Shields.
I agree.
Yeah.
Collingwood hosting West Coast at Etihad Stadium. Why the fuck are Collingwood playing at Etihad Stadium? Anyway,
It's got a roof.
What's on this weekend?
nothing.
Yeah, nothing.
It's because it's an interstate side. There is no Saturday game at the MCG. Interesting. I don't think there's anything else on.
That's strange. That's almost criminal, isn't it?
I think
No
West
MCG
Coast,
footy.
I think
Middle of winter.
it is good that because it's been shit weather in Melbourne that there'll be a roof over the game, which I think is ultimately better.
That's true. Yeah.
But West Coast
For
Eagles,
football, yes.
where they're sitting on the ladder, they would have loved another run on the MCG.
Yeah, and hey, to be fair, the Collingwood fans will get out in the wet just as much as they will under Etihad Stadium.
I agree. Who's going to win?
West Coast.
I think West Coast.
Look, I think it's going to be a really, really, really tough game.
So Pendlebury and Swan versus that midfield is going to be an absolute highlight.
Yeah, and I think if Cloak can get outside of 50, I think that'll be better for Collingwood.
Playing
I'd
centre half.
Yeah, I'd like to see them have a real, not a single focus forward line. I'd like to see them winning the scramble on the forward line, if that makes sense.
What an afternoon of footy, though. That game leading into Sydney versus Hawthorn.
Yep.
It's at ANZ, not at the SCG.
And they're always tough games. They're always
They're
great
always
games to
they're always
watch.
close and hard fought games. Like the score, the obviously with most games you say first 100 you got whatever chance of winning.
Yep.
Hawthorn and Sydney is the exception to those rules. Those standard rules that we placed on AFL games. This is the exception.
Well, I'll give you a tip. If Hawthorn get to 100 by three-quarter time, they're winning, which is what happened in the grand final.
If anyone gets to 100, then they'll win. I think it'll be between 60 and 80 and a very tight fought game.
I think you're right. I think it's going to be, again, like I was saying before, a finals-style game of football where they'll just try and grind each other down as much as possible.
Yeah.
I don't know who wins. Obviously, I'll tip Hawthorn, but I guarantee we'll see a better performance from Sydney this game than we've seen in the last month.
And look, Buddy always steps up against Hawthorn.
Well,
He always puts in the effort.
Well, he was held goalless last time, and Frawley played on him, and Frawley is very unlikely to be there this time. I think he's still a week away with a shoulder. So that'll be interesting.
Buddy always plays shit against Hawthorn. It's terrible.
But he was brilliant in the grand final.
Going to fire our research bloke.
Fremantle and Carlton over at Domain Stadium.
Opening available at Clicking Balls.
Fremantle versus Carlton over the West.
They'll be bouncing back and they will just utterly annihilate them. It won't even be... It'll be over half-time.
You heard it. Carlton going to bounce back.
Is the second Ashes test on that night?
I don't know. Probably.
Yeah, I reckon Australia win day one.
Melbourne versus the Brisbane Lions at the MCG. Geez, it's great that there was no game on Saturday at the MCG, and then they come in for this blockbuster on the Sunday.
Yeah, I reckon.
What a waste of a fucking ground.
Well, the problem is that they've actually got snow up on the fields now, so no one's going to turn up at all.
That explains where Carmichael Hunt is. Power.
Are we going to tip?
No.
Do we care?
No.
All right, fuck it.
You say if you
Look, Brisbane
look,
to be
tip whatever you want. It's a guess.
Brisbane to be in it at three-quarter time and then get done by 4 goals.
Yep, I'll go with that.
Port Adelaide are hosting the showdown.
Football's the winner.
It will be a big emotional game, and I hope that both teams can find some closure because they need that emotional outpouring. They've had it, and they need to be able to move on as well. I think it'll be a cracker game, and it'll be played in the right spirit, and they're going to be trying to put on a show.
I think this is going to be the oil that allows the Adelaide and the Port fans to be cohesive
For 1 week.
for a week.
And then next time they'll be at each other's throats
exactly
again.
right.
But look, the Crows...
The oil that lets them be cohesive.
You can come up with one if you want, but I had 30 seconds and that's what came out.
Hey, that's all right. I think that the fact that if Adelaide Crows can put an end to Port Adelaide's season with a win here, and I think that'll get them over the line.
Yeah.
I can't tip against Adelaide. This is their grand final, and the showdowns are always massive. But
South
Adelaide,
Australia.
yeah, in South Australia,
One of the
but
biggest showdowns ever.
the Adelaide team would rather everyone fucking dies on the field rather than lose this.
Yeah, not the best choice of words.
I did try and back out halfway through, but I was committed.
You probably
Pot committed. Pot committed.
I applaud your going forward with it. Once you've got your foot in your mouth, you decided, fuck it, I can fit 2.
Yeah, I was just like,
strong.
Kick along.
This better be funny.
Speaking of funny, St Kilda versus Richmond, that'll be funny.
Depends. As long as you're not a St Kilda Richmond fan, it'll be fucking hilarious.
Guarantee Rewalt will Nick will line up for this one. There's
Eddie
no
Hatch
chance.
Stadium.
There's no chance he's going to miss out on.
No
Matty
chance.
Campbell.
Honestly,
It's almost funny that any other week this becomes the emotional centre of football, but with the
that's a good point.
with the Port and Adelaide game, it's kind of
I don't think.
casting a bit of a shadow on it.
I don't think they're going to turn it into a grief dick measuring contest.
Yeah.
No.
But,
But the thing is,
it'll be a decent game.
when
too.
that's acceptable, I've got heaps of jokes.
But I mean, like normally you see the build up in the papers and everything, and it's all about that one moment, like the McGrath Foundation test and all that sort of thing. But with this one, you've got two games back to back, both massively emotionally charged. Any other time they played, that would have been the story of the month. But just because they're back to back, they're gonna kind of take attention off each other, which can actually work quite well for the teams involved because it's not so all consuming in the lead up.
I think it's good that there'll actually be two decent games as well. The teams are competing well. I mean, Saints didn't get over the line, but they've had a good year for their expectations, and the Tigers have been absolutely killing it this year. Currently sitting in fifth. I think the Tigers will get over the line still.
Yeah, I was just looking if there's any milestones, any first gamers or anybody, something I can hang my hat on. But for the sake of fairness, I'm going first draw of the year. It's the third time I've tipped that as well.
No Edwards, no Vickery for the Tigers is going to make it difficult because Edwards has been important.
I think the net result of that is we're even.
Yeah, unless Rance is out, I think Richmond are going to get it.
All right, I think that'll do. That was a rather long wrap-up of round 15, but geez, it was talking that much about one of the worst rounds of football I've ever seen.
I feel we might have actually had some quality in this episode.
Yeah, I think we talked about Hawthorn too much.
Good luck editing to try and find that quality.
Yeah.
All right, guys, that'll do us. We'll see you next Tuesday for round 16.
See you
Peace.
next Tuesday.